Genetic and lifestyle factors on health. DNA and lifestyle factors. What is DNA? DNA is in every cell of your body. DNA is structured like a double helix. A good way to think of DNA is like a long list of computer program instructions. Different instructions are called genes, and each gene has a different function. Some genes decide hair color, how much hair you have, or even whether you will develop a disease or a disability. Everyone's DNA is slightly different. Around 99.1% of our genes or instructions are in common with a chimpanzee, our closest relative on Earth. If you want to write down the codes for all the chemicals in your DNA, it would fill about 200 phone books, about 3 billion letters. How was DNA discovered? DNA wasn't discovered overnight. In the 1800s, scientists knew DNA existed and somehow controlled what we are like. During the 20th century, improvements in technology aided the discovery of DNA. Electron microscopes were developed which allowed people to see in more detail. Better X-rays were also developed which improved X-ray photographs using a process called crystallography. Also in 1953, two Cambridge University scientists called Francis Crick and James Watson discovered the double helix structure of DNA. Crick and Watson showed that DNA was present in every human cell and passed genetic information from parent to child. Although Crick and Watson were brilliant scientists, they did not work alone. They were part of a research team with different skills and abilities. For example, Maurice Wilkins was an expert and specialist in the field of X-ray photography. Rosalind Franklin experimented and developed a new technique to take a photograph of a single strand of DNA. Crick and Watson also had access to the latest equipment and used new technologies mentioned above. They also built on improvements in other branches of science, such as biochemistry. Crick and Watson were also funded by the government, but also industry that helped them carry out their research. Why is DNA so important? In 1986, the Human Genome Project was started to try and map the exact purpose of each gene in the human body. The project was completed in 2001, 15 years later. Scientists from 18 countries were involved in the project, from countries like America, Britain, Japan, France, and Canada. Each team of scientists worked on different areas of mapping the genome. This research would not have been possible without computers. The information carried in human DNA would fill 80,000 books, but this information can easily be shared thanks to the internet. The discovery of DNA and the mapping of the human genome are massively important. Whereas the germ theory could only help doctors prevent diseases caused by bacteria, the discovery of DNA means that diseases that have genetic causes can be identified and prevented. Since the discovery of DNA, scientists have been able to identify genes that cause illnesses like some forms of cancer, diabetes, Down syndrome, cystic fibrosis, Parkinson's disease, and Alzheimer's. The discovery of DNA meant that doctors and scientists worked out that some illnesses are inherited. They have genetic causes such as Down syndrome and cystic fibrosis. Work on DNA means that people with these genetic illnesses hope that scientists can find a way of helping sufferers. Scientists hope that they can find further ways to help patients suffering from genetic illnesses. Gene therapy has also been developed. This takes normal genes from a donor, and puts them into the DNA from someone suffering from a disease and disabilities like cystic fibrosis, Huntington's chorea, sickle cell anemia, and muscular dystrophy, which are caused by a single abnormal gene. One method involves using stem cells from embryos to reverse a common form of blindness or to regrow nerves and restore movement to people paralyzed by accidents. Another genetic disease the discovery of DNA has helped is baby in the bubble syndrome. This is where babies are born with no immune system, so have no resistance to infection. This is due to a fault in the genes. They are kept in a completely sterile environment, so they are away from infection. Due to gene therapy, this can now be cured. Doctors put a working copy of the gene into the child's bone marrow. The bone marrow is put back into the child's body. The hope is that the correct gene will grow and help restore the child's immune system. Genetic screening is another method that the discovery of DNA has developed and allows you to check for certain types of condition in an unborn baby, e.g. Down syndrome. Lifestyle factors. Another cause of illness is lifestyle factors. In the 20th century, medical professionals have begun to consider how important a person's lifestyle is to the cause of disease. Poor lifestyle can lead to a variety of diseases such as forms of cancer, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, asthma, ulcers, mental health problems, and so on. One lifestyle choice, smoking, is estimated to reduce the life expectancy by at least 7 years on average. In a way, the identification of lifestyle factors as a cause of disease in the 20th century is nothing new. Doctors in ancient Greece and Rome in the Middle Ages all recommended diet and exercise based on the theory of the four humours and the theory of the opposites. The table below details some of the major lifestyle factors that have been identified as a cause of disease in the 20th century. Smoking. Although smoking rates have reduced, in the developed world, smoking continues to be a cause of disease such as cancer and can reduce life expectancy by up to 7 years. Drinking alcohol. Binge drinking is a major problem in the UK and continues to be a cause of disease. Alcohol abuse can lead to liver disease, hepatitis, and cirrhosis of the liver. Lack of exercise. Exercise can improve mental health and also prevent disease. A lack of exercise can lead to high blood pressure and heart disease. Being overweight. Obesity is becoming more and more of a problem in the UK. It can lead to diseases like diabetes, various cancers, strokes, and coronary heart disease. Poor diet. Poor diet can lead to developing diseases. Too much sugar, for example, can cause disease. Poor diet can lead to diseases like cancer, heart disease, and strokes. Poverty. Poverty can restrict an individual's access to healthcare in countries where healthcare is not free. Poverty can also lead to disease due to poor diet and lack of choice. Stress can lead to obesity, heart disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes, depression, gastrointestinal problems, and even asthma. Poor housing can cause disease and also affect mental health. And relationships. A healthy relationship could help people avoid anxiety and neurotic personality traits, for example.